We are 10 a.m. We can start.
Okay, very good.
Okay, sir.
Soumya, you can start. Soumya.
Yes, sir. Strive for continuous improvement instead of perfection. A very good evening to one and all present here. A very good morning to you, sir. It's my great privilege in welcoming you all for the webinar. Today's topic plays a key role in every management graduate's career. Yes, the topic for the day is corporate expectation from MBA graduates. It's my immense pleasure in welcoming our guest speaker, Mr. Bruno Rocha. Let us begin the session with the welcome address. I invite Mr. Yuvanraj from First MBA to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Soumya. Good evening, everyone gathered here. I extend a warm welcome to all staff, head of department, and my fellow mates. I find immense pleasure in introducing our honorable chief guest, Mr. Bruno Rocha. We are really thankful to him for taking the time out of his busy schedule to attend the session. Once again, I take this opportunity to welcome you all. All have a great learning.
Thank you, Yuvan. Let us all welcome our guest speaker of the day, Mr. Bruno Rocha. He has completed his master's from Coventry University. Earlier, he was in various positions, planning director at Brazil Telecom, pricing manager at Brazil Telecom. Now, currently, he is working as CFO of Tata Consultancy Services, Brazil. With this small note, we are happy to invite you, sir, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the honor and opportunity to speak to all of you. It's a pleasure for me to share my experience. So I was already introduced. My name is Bruno Rocha, and I have chosen three main topics to talk to you today. And I try to summarize this in 45 minutes for your questions. So feel free to make any question you'd like to. So let's go straight to the content. I have separated three topics I'd like to address with all of you today. First of all, is required knowledge and skills to you to upskill and upgrade your performance. So what are the required knowledge and skills that you could develop to become a far more efficient professional? Second topic would be about adapting to organizational culture. So why this is important, what can you, and explain a little bit about this phenomenon. And finally, about other skills. So these subjects are more or less intertwined. So I will go through the content and you will see me more or less touching the topics back and forth while I speak. So let's start with a first question that used to strike me from on the last 20 years is about this phenomenon that today you can have instantaneous information. So 30 years ago, all of you is young, most were not even born. We used to know a lot of things because you would not have immediate access to any information in knowledge in the workplace. So when working, you were supposed to know or to have all the information required for you to perform your activities. So it was one way of working. Today, it's in the morning. If someone touches any subject, you can do a quick search and in 5 minutes, you're gonna, have access to all the information you may require to perform certain activity. All of you should have experienced this, both from professional experience and also in the academic world. It's very easy to access information today. So the question that comes is, what sort of knowledge and skills should you learn, develop, and be ready when these were required? What should you know first? What sort of knowledge you cannot acquire in a matter of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, or 1 day of research? So this is the topic, the first topic, and how we're gonna address this now. So it's important to address first, what sort of skills and content you depend on on your day-to-day activities in your job. So I'd like to introduce you a first pyramid. This pyramid has 3 layers. Most important, of course, is the foundations, then the mid layer, then the top layer. The foundations, which are very important, for some of you repetitive, but it's today a key differentiator and a key point on your job is about your values. So your values are the basis on which you're going to build up your knowledge. And this is something you cannot acquire. First is your values. On top of your values is then a capacity critical to perform any activity in a company that are your social skills. So your social skills is about the second layer in this pyramid of skills and knowledge. And on top of it, your technical skills. So meaning from the bottom to the top, from the most important to the one that is less important, this scale, values, social skills, technical skills. And why values and social skills come first? So it's important for you to understand that any large organization, in the end, is a social enterprise. Is not something that one person can understand as a whole from end to end. Nobody in a large organization knows everything about this organization. It's impossible for you to be an expert in accounting, in finance, in treasury, in audit, at the same time in HR policies, marketing, sales, then in the operations, technical, production. See, an organization is a combination of too many tasks, or if you see from outside being too complex to be performed. And it's only possible that it's successful because it turns to be a social enterprise. So you can start from even a smaller institution to very large and complex ones like Facebook, like SpaceX, and anyone. So you can start from a small group of people, large group of combination of knowledge, expand it gradually until you build up organizations. As I wanted to give an example of SpaceX, that has the goal to put 1 million people in Mars sometime in future. Looking from outside, seems to be something impossible to understand the level of complexity. How can you imagine 1 million people in Mars? But at the same time, when you go inside the organization, it's a combination of 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 minds work in association. And then it becomes possible, you know? So when we look to this enterprise, this challenge, we see the importance of the social skills playing the game here. Because it's about leadership, motivation, how to deal with fears, hopes, empathy. In the end, trust is very critical. How to manage conflicts, how you will put 4, 5, 10 individuals to cooperate and extract the most of them. This is the challenge of large organizations. And then that's why social skills are so important. So much so that over the last 30 years, I have, witnesses a very strong transformation in education. So when I come from a school in Brazil, of course, you don't know, it's San Antonio. It's a very famous skill at my region. And in Brazil, you do an annual test called INEP. And in this test, you rank all schools in the country. And in Brazil, you should have maybe 15, 20,000 schools. I don't know. Anyway, my school is always ranked among the 5 best schools. And this has been, for a long period of time, one of the best schools for, high school and basic education and high school. Despite that, today, if I go to any gathering of ex-students of my prior school, I will not find a single commercial director, marketing director, or you would have far less success that you would expect in a group like this. And this combined with what I see today in the education of my kids. So if you go to the new wave of education, has a very strong, foundation on the development of social skills. Whereas, how to manage conflict, about drama, about project management, community services, UN simulations. So today, the focus is, of course, still with academic and technical knowledge, but also how to manage, large groups. How can you achieve success within a group, and how to develop your social skills. So this is new, and this is what is differentiating today someone that had a chance to evolve with these skills against someone that has not. Because irrespective of what's your goal, to which group you are, if maybe you are in the quality assurance team and you are a manager, in the end, if you see, your goal is more about how you're gonna work as a team to deliver what is expected than the basic knowledge about quality standards. This you can achieve faster than developing the skills to work as a team. So, having said that, about the second layer, I was speaking basically about the importance of social skills. I will go to values in the end, but in this pyramid, I was talking about second layer. Let's go to the top, about the technical. What's required for us, and what's the difference between instantaneous information or the information that are one day distance of study, and about the information that you need to build up in time, is what I call the knowledge house or the frameworks. There are certain frameworks that you need to develop. These are not things that you can acquire in 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, a month. No, these frameworks requires years of study, and it's what I believe you have achieved so far, and you want to achieve further in your study. And it's about a group of set of knowledge that are required in your day-to-day work. So for example, a simple example, but I would say it's math. So math is a large tower. It starts from when you are 6 years old with some studies until something very complex when you are in the university. All these are, layers that you go brick by brick until the point you are able to perform very complex type of calculations. So this is not something that you can acquire in a matter of 1 week even of study. It's a long period of acquisition. So some of the layers, I would say, is languages, finance. No matter where you work in the company, finance is key. Project management, everybody, and sometimes everything's about projects and processes. Presentation skills, do not underestimate the importance of the presentation skills. You see, and many times I have seen that many good workers, people that are key to the organization, work a lot and they build up a lot of value, but in the end do a small presentation or a presentation much poorer than what's their real job. And in the end, what people you see is your presentation, not your hard work behind scenes. So if you don't have very strong presentation skills, you will suffer to sell your projects internally, and also for people to understand the importance and the amount of work that you have done and the value that you can put up for them to consider. Other related frameworks, market and sales. You, of course, you see that, but everybody in the organization is responsible for selling, have marketing insights. So this is another tower that requires a lot of knowledge, experience, reading, study, that you need to develop a framework that's required for you to go. Many people believe sometimes that, oh, I do not really need to understand sales, I do not sell. It's a wrong statement. Everybody sells. A good worker in any company is selling their company. So this is something that you need to understand to be part of a group that add more value to the organization that you belong to. About governance and management, it's also another key element, because as I said, if large organizations are social enterprises, it's very important to understand governance. Who reports to, what anyone needs to know, what's the approval flow required, what decisions should I take at my level, what are the steps and the sequence to be followed for something or project to be completed. And if you don't have a deep understanding on the governance and the role of everyone, about the power decision of everyone, you will take much more time than others. And lately, but not less important, I put HR skills, because in the end, you are a people manager. So it's very common, especially in Brazil, I don't know, in India, that a lot of people complain about HR. And they have very high expectations about HR, what they should deliver, what they should do. In the end, if you see HR just develop policies, develop tools, but who is responsible for HR development are the leaders of the organizations, the managers, the ones that fight for promotions, the ones that develop people, train people. So you need to have a very strong consciousness of your role in HR for you to become a better and more important leader in the organization you are in. Having said that, about the key frameworks that you need to develop with calm during time, I also would like you to understand this process and how this, how this is done. And then I tell you about the second triangle. I spoke about first, then it comes second. It's about the learning process. And it goes with four layers. The most basic layer is about data. Second is about information. Up to information, you can dig in the internet. Then come to the third, which is the knowledge. And the fourth, there is the wisdom. So we start from data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom being, knowledge and information views that you have with you. And when it comes to wisdom, your actions become natural. You're going to have an intuition, which sometimes you believe is just your, guessing, but it's not. It's a very strong consciousness that was built within this triangle, so strong that today you may not require what was the information that made you take a certain view, and you follow your views and wisdom. And this was built in this process, and sometimes you forgot the way you took to be there. It's not something that you were born with. It's not a matter of luck. Actually, it was a built and a conscious process to develop, wisdom. And the learning process goes upwards from data, information, knowledge, wisdom. This is the learning process. However, operations, day-to-day work is the other way around. You start with your wisdom, then you access your knowledge, then you verify your information, and then you double check your data. But the decision, and you take many decisions in a day, in a normal work, follows your wisdom, and then your knowledge. So this is something that you need to have consciousness, to understand the importance of continuous learning, because you are always building up wisdom and knowledge. Then I would talk about the base of the first triangle. You recall values, social skills, technical skills. I spoke about technical skills, social skills. Now I'd like to address a little bit values. On the longer run, what you sustain you are your values. Technical skills will be useful for you for a period of time. Social skills will sustain you for longer periods of time. But in the end, organization will value by your values. And I'm telling you few values that today, as it was before, but they are more sustainable long-term, which are critical for you to always be conscious of. Integrity, respect for the individual, the golden rule, and not to say love. If you understand, and then of course, every organization could have more values required, less values required, but these are basic values that you depend on your day-to-day work. Because if you see, and I start saying that organizations are social enterprises, it's about the connection between motivation, leadership to results. Motivation, leadership to results. And the bond that connects these three actions is trust. And this will count a lot for you. Many times on the crossroads of life, crossroads of organizations, these will play the most important critical role. And you see that. Today may sound less important. The older you get, you feel and understand how important it became. What you have received at your house, at your family, at your friends, or from your religion. And this built who you are, and who you are is what matters in the end. Okay, so I have crossed two topics that I have aimed at, which are required skills, other skills, and knowledge. And then I'd like to move to the required adaptation to organizational culture. And that's also why I made values the last, because values is a base for culture. And that's why I'm connecting from this point, moving to adapting to organizational culture. It's strongly underestimated. Although you may have heard many times about the importance of organizational culture, a lot of people, when taking decisions, do not pay the due importance of it. So it's a good example. Is someone that works in a certain organization, has a very good performance, are invited to move to another organization, maybe in a higher position, maybe earning more. And they move without assessing whether its culture will match with the other organization culture. And it's very common that after doing the move, after 1 year, these people would like to leave because they are not happy or they are not performing in the new organization. They were good performers in the previous one, but in the new one, they are not performing. And a lot has to do, not because the person lost their technical skills, not because the person have lost their social skills, much because the culture was way too different for you to adapt. And you were not able to assess these differences before. But now you're realizing why you're struggling. So this example illustrates the challenge of dealing with different organizational cultures. And let's so first define what is culture for we to move to explain a little bit this phenomenon and how you could assess it in your key decisions. So culture is connected with another concept called culture norm. And culture norm, I read for you, is the guideline for behavior, language, the manner in each situation. And so it's basically the rules, the non-written rules on which everybody acts inside an organization. And this is critical for anyone because it's by knowing the culture that you will know what others will do, what boss is thinking, what people below you is thinking, what your peers are doing, what's an issue, what is not an issue, what is acceptable, how are we going to inspire trust, how are we going to develop this trust, how you can predict what others will do. In our organization, very strong culture, people know what others will do, maybe if they have never seen them, if they are overseas in a different country, you can predict with a very strong level of certainty what would be a given action in a given situation. It's because culture is very strong. It's because you know the culture of that organization. So that if you know the culture very well, you can save a lot of time. You can avoid problems. You can have the shortcuts to take the right decisions, and then you'll be able to connect everybody. Now, these days, you may be working in the IT sector or any other sector, doesn't matter, but on large multinationals. This poses us a challenge because you have people of different environments, upbringings, beliefs, cultures, and it's very complex that sometimes you need to work in a project that is with someone in India, someone in Brazil, someone in US, someone in UK, for example, and 4 or 5 different countries working together, different teams, our company, a client company, a supplier company, many countries combined. So you depend a lot. You depend a lot on your understanding of the culture of your organization, of the business culture that you are working with, for you to overcome, the challenges, for you to smooth relations, for you to ease, what could be potential complex problems to be overcome at low cost for your organization to be successful. If you see this thing about culture norms gets more complex the bigger the group is. So it starts with your family, where the culture norm is very clear, goes to your tribe, to your clan, to your city, state, your nation, civilization, to the whole mankind. So the greater the group, the less norms you find, the more complex you will find to, get to conclusion, to get to a common sense. So the more alert you have to be about the differences in each culture, in each group, for you to overcome, the challenge you are facing at that given situation. But it's something that it's natural when I say about, people for a certain state behave in a certain way different than others. You know that. And but it's less clear when you talk about different organizations. So it's key for you to understand this well, for you to work well and in good performance with everybody.
Bruno,
so having said that,
Bruno,
yeah,
I have. Sorry to interrupt you on this. I thought I have one bugging question with me to ask you here, because when I talk about culture, a lot of things the guys has to do. I do appreciate that, but one bugging question. Number one, the fresh graduate may have a work-life balance challenge. So till they were studying, so they will not have any responsibilities. They'll be having studies and they go back to home and they will enjoy the time. But when they come to work, the culture is different. The work environment is different. Pressure is different. Learning new system is different. So how do they balance the work-life balance? That is number one question. Number two, definitely in a multinational organization like places, there could be some racial challenges. Could be there. I'm not sure about it, but there are challenges still. I'm hearing here and there a lot of news. So work-life balance, how should they balance it? And how do we address the racial challenges? I want you to address both.
So work-life balance. I told you that the most important element of the first pyramid are your values. Your values are just non-negotiable. You need to develop strong values and you need to stick to it for your life, with your family, as for your company. And your company appreciate it. You will face in your life your values. Please stay with your values. So, meaning that there is a need of work-life balance. And I do not mean that you're not going to work hard, in some periods of your time, your life. I have been times where I have worked a lot and others that it was not required. So work comes and goes. But if I were to say, by sticking to my values, I had to properly focus my time, with people that, need me the most, which is my family. So they understand me by the time I was taken to the company. And I also was prioritizing them whenever possible, to be with them and to have a good quality of life. Today, these days, you feel that I was talking about a little bit the company perspective, but in this new generation, what I feel is very strong life for people to be conscious about other aspects of life that they have to develop. And I see a great development in this sense that people, since the very beginning, are being able to put up their values, the importance of their families, to try to balance it well. And organization, the truth is, are much different today than was to do in the past. And this is changing rapidly. So there is a greater also consciousness about the importance of people to, be also with the families, with the jobs, with the kids. The level of understanding is today much, much stronger than it used to be in past. So there is a big realization that competitiveness about working 15 hours a day in the end does not develop the best work. The best work is the work that you do within the proper time. Of course, there will be moments of closings of hard, where you cannot leave. But in most of the times, you'll be able to balance it, taking care of your body, taking care of your family, and becoming a more social, skilled person to do your job. So moving to the second comment, I would say that, as said, that values are important, then it becomes social skills. If you don't develop it, your social skills beyond your day-to-day function, you ended up being a less effective employee than if you do. So do not underestimate the importance of being connected, of working with balance to be a good performance inside the company. This is what I feel. And second, you said about the ratio. Sorry, I missed it. It was the second question. If you could repeat, Ms. Subramania.
I was talking about the racial discriminations in the company. The moment you join, there are still based on skin tone, and the racial discriminations are there in many companies, right? Are you from South America? Are you from North America? Are you from Asia? Are you from Australia? I'm finding challenges there everywhere. Though the guy is skilled, but the racial differences are there. That is putting down. How do the freshers will manage it? Because for them it's new.
See, I see. It's funny how world changes so rapid, so fast, and you see that large organizations are very much concerned about bridging the gaps between people and trying to make them more equal and capable of perform their activities despite gender, sexual preferences, skin color, or different upbringings. So, like for example, TCS, but not just TCS. It's any large organization has a very strong focus on that. So there is a sincere initiative from inside organizations to make people equal. I say that skin color is a very strong, driving concern in the West. It's Brazil, US. So there is an effort to increase the representativity of these populations in the councils, in the management, in the board of directors. So there have been great developments in recent years. And I expect it to become more and more the norm than the exception. So it's not acceptable today that a group of leaders has no one of different color or different gender or different type of any group of identity. And this comes from not just the companies, but from the clients, from all stakeholders, the government. So there is a genuine effort from all fronts for we to bridge these gaps. So if I were to give you an advice, I'd say keep working. Organizations are looking at it. You can look to organizations with better governance policies regarding these matters. But as what I see, any large multinational has a very strong focus on that. And they will not stop. So I see this improving, year by year and for the years to come.
Thank you, Bruno. You answered perfectly. That is what I was expecting, because a lot of students had a question in their mind that how we will be treated, will we be treated equal, will we be listened in the organization. They had a lot of queries. Thank you. You can continue at the end. Again, we'll connect for the questions.
No, sure, no, I have finished. I have touched. You interrupted me exactly at the right moment when I was getting to the conclusion.
Okay, good.
So,
good.
but let me do a small conclusion here
Okay,
to say that.
Then with the case,
See.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I will do a small conclusion to say that knowledge is something that you develop. And I don't believe that someone, no, I read 5 books a month, I need 60 books a year in a way that is doing 40 years. It doesn't happen this way. You will sometimes read and study more, sometimes you cannot. You're going to have your children, your wife will get pregnant, or you will get pregnant, and then sometimes your workload will be too high, and it's part of life. It's like going on diet. You not eat fat anymore, but soon you are eating again. So we need to consistently have the idea of turning back to study, turning back to science, turning back to understand phenomena. It's a process that will always be a sinner looking for forgiveness through your books. So keep up studying, believe in yourself, and we are building up a great world. World is getting better and better when it comes to the organization policies. People is getting more, I'm very optimistic. Some people are very pessimistic regarding fake news, regarding people building up weird type of ideologies. To be true, weird type of ideologies have always been there in hundreds of years. But I believe that we genuinely are building institutions stronger, more consciousness, and states and people more capable to be together to achieve great things. This is what I have to say. Thank you very much. I hope to hear from you.
Thank you. I trust my students have a lot of queries for you. They were asking a lot of bugging questions to me. I said, reserve your questions, ask Bruno the same questions. I think Bruno will be happy to answer your queries. So the session is open for question and answer. So over to you, Soumya and team.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving an informative talk to our students. I hope your thought and ideas will help our students to shine in their career. So now it's open for question and answer session. So students can interact.
Guys, if you're able to impress Bruno by asking the best question, Bruno will take you for internship at Brazil.
That's very much possible. Pará is there, we are looking for a lot of talents.
I understand.
It depends a lot. Yeah. So we're more than glad to.
If you thrill by your questions, Bruno, if you challenge the questions through it, and he'll be happy and he'll be able to take you as intern, right? So the ball is in your court now. Yes, Soumya, we can start.
Sir, I'm Ajay from second year MBA. I have a question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, can you explain me how to deal with corporate politics, sir? Politics.
Yeah.
Bruno, the first question on your head, right? The first question on your head, how to avoid office politics, corporate politics, right on your head, the gun.
Yeah, no, I love the question. You won't believe. I want to talk about politics, but then I took this route, but let's address this. See, you can you can search in the internet the meaning of politics. And also, you need to recall what I said about companies being social enterprises. My strong recommendation for you all in life, as in a company, is to embrace politics. Politics is all about, your day-to-day activities. You spend more time in politics than in trying to solve some technical issue. Technical issue, in the beginning, you have more time on that. The greater you grow on the ladder, the more important politics you play. And I would recommend you to not take this to the evil side, It's important. It's without politics, we have tyranny, And it's how you're going to convince your peers to do what they do not want to do. How are you going to convince your clients to buy your products? How are you going to say to a leader that someone has to be given certain position because this person will deliver a better job than the person that they are thinking for that position? It's about how we're going to find a solution that will be sustainable on HR perspective, good on market perspective, outstanding on finance view. At the same time, will pose a challenge to quality team and operations. So it's about that. If you see any new product, any new challenge, any change, is a challenge to everybody in a group that is part of a large organization. And politics is the grease that will make it achievable. People will accommodate a long given situation for a greater good of that organization. So the better politicians in the end becomes the CEOs. And the very good politician becomes a director. And that's the truth. Because they understand the importance of the social machine and how to connect and how to put them together to make it far. You may not see from that angle, but a great leader is also a great politician.
Thank you, Bruno. A question connected to his question. At your younger age, how did you manage the early time challenges in your office when you joined new? Definitely there will be people cursing on you, appreciating. All these things will be there in your official record, right? So how did you make a balance of it? When you got hurt by the words of people, push you down, and when people appreciate, both we have to take and balance it. But very easy to talk now. But at that point of time, at young age, how did you took that and how did you manage it?
No, I had tough times. There are moments when I cried. I have no shame to say. It was difficult for me. There are moments of joy. I go back to what I said before. You always depend on your values and the belief that you have in yourself. So you need to believe in yourself to understand what critics are right and you need to change for you to become stronger. What people is saying things just to put you down because they are in a dispute, and how to move forward. I will share with you some example that is very good. And I was 25 years old, and I was, at that time, I was the best trainee. In our group of 20 top trainees in the organization was the best. And I was doing very well. I was in the department, performing well. And then the director talked to my, we were 4 people working, but we listened, the director talked to the manager. He said, there is a position in another organization. Do you have someone to appoint? The manager said, yes, I have someone. And then the director said, no, but it has to be one of us. And the manager said, no, this guy has no MBA. He said, no, so I don't want to. And he left. I was so angry because I had no MBA. I was angry with that bastard because how can he say I'm not one of them because of that? It's unfair, it's short-sighted, it's just a wrong statement. But because of that, I fought. I had no much money at the time. I fought to win a scholarship. In 1 year, I won the scholarship, and by 1 year and a half, I was leaving the organization to do an MBA in UK. And this event was key for me. I could have felt hurt and just felt these people to be wrong, which they were wrong. What they're saying is totally wrong. But I took this to become stronger, you know? And there is a new writer called Nassim Taleb. He wrote about the black swan, and this is the anti-fragile. So what hurts you in the end makes you stronger. So have this mental preparedness and self-belief in yourself, because although he was being wrong and me not being part of the group, he was right that doing an MBA was something that could differentiate me. So he was able to learn from that to become someone better. So you face many things in your life where you feel hurt, you feel disrespected, the respect is wrong. As I said before, you cannot accept, but try to get from it the bit of truth that you can change to become a better performer, and you're going to achieve great things.
Good. Thank you, Bruno. That is what hurdles and struggles will make us stronger and stronger day by day. I do believe in that, because only when we have hurdles and struggles in early part of life, we'll become strong enough in later part of life. I think over to students for asking questions. I don't want to ask question. Bruno is waiting for your questions. Over to you, Soumya.
Hi, sir. Hello. I'm Soumya from second MBA. So my question is, what is the industry expecting from a graduate? Whether he or she should be a specialized, a candidate, or a generalized?
See, let's go on two aspects. It's very good that you are looking for better education and developing knowledge. At this age, 23, 24, you're going to find a position if you don't have one. Eventually, you're going to find. What they're expecting, no matter the area, no matter the company, no matter where you are, if you have a very good attitude towards learning, excelling, doing better, eagerness to work, and the desire to be the best on what you're doing, desire to be the best. You do not need to be the best. If you want to be the best, you're going to improve and you're going to be a great worker. People will see. It's amazing how many people, you know, lacks the genuine willingness to, you know, give 100% of their capacity while inside the organization. So whenever opportunity you face, you take it, you can ask for more, demand for more. You may be doing a repetitive job, so do it very well. As soon as you feel comfortable, ask for more. Very little people go to the manager and say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm performing, last 3 months, I'm doing very well. No, you cannot say this, but I'm doing this job. I believe I could do more. If you could give more job to me, I'd like to take, or more work to me, I'd like to take. This attitude changes everything. It's the most important skill, because in the end, it's the skill that will push you toward learning, toward performing better. And if you keep this as a value, retain it, and you will be in the path towards growth